For God's sake. What the president doesn't live in every state. Does every state in America have the presidential lodge? No. So where did we learn this? Does every state have governor's lodge in Washington? No, they stay in hotel. So where did we learn this type of irresponsibility? But they want me to do it in my state.
Hello, my great and wonderful people. How una day today? I hope all of una day well. Today we get a lot of videos for our team. We're going to will review to you one after the other concerning the things it happen right now for inside this country, Nigeria. And before we go on, you don't already see one right from the introduction how it be say foreigner they organize themselves. They make us they understand. Say it will make a very good sense for each and every one of us Nigerians to join our hands together to make sure say Peter Obi become the president of this country come 2023. This one na message when it be say people they send across to us Nigerians. Although would they leave you to watch the full video and so many others when it be say would they review even for the process of this very broadcast. And before then, we want quickly beg you for one favor. I beg help us to like this video because now the only way we want to say YouTube and Facebook will fit help us recommend these videos to each and every one of us all over the world. The more this video get likes, the more that they recommend them to people. Now their own policy now ain't be that very one. Thank you for your own support. And now we'll leave you to watch this very one first before we come back with others.
For God's sake. What the president doesn't live in every state. Does every state in America have the presidential lodge? No. So where did we learn this? Does every state have governor's lodge in Washington? No, they stay in hotel. So where did we learn this type of irresponsibility? But they want me to do it in my state. For God's sake, when Obasanjo came, I told him, I went to him and said, Mr. President, you are the president, you have plane, come in the morning and go in the evening. You don't need to sleep in Oka. What are you sleeping in Oka to do? No. You just come anywhere you want to go, you go and... That you cannot. He insisted he would sleep. His best friend, he insisted he would sleep. His people said he would sleep. I said, I have no place for you. But since you insist, you come and sleep in my house. Where I sleep and I'll go away and sleep somewhere else. When you go, I'll come back. And that's what they did. That's what they did. It will cost us $1 billion to build presidential lodge. But Obasanjo stayed in my own place for 2 nights, and it cost me 100,000 in the hotel outside. For those 2 nights he slept there. And that's what I would spend $1 billion. Since he came, no other president have been there to sleep. 2006. And I've had a house of $1 billion, maintaining it every day, looking after it. When Jonathan wanted to come, I explained it to him. I said, I don't have any place for you to sleep. If you come, you go. Please. You don't need to sleep. You own the whole country. You can come back the next day if you wish. Or you go to neighboring states and sleep. It doesn't matter. And he came. He slept in Asaba. Because they have more money. I don't have it to spend. Only in Nigeria that people use bulletproof car and have 40 police. So what is the essence? And I can go on and on. You won't believe it. Most of your states today have 10 bulletproof cars. 80 million naira each. What for? For God's sake. What the president doesn't live in every state. Does every state in America have the presidential lodge? No. So where did we learn this? Every state have governor's lodge in Washington? No, they stay in hotel. So where did we learn this type of irresponsibility?
All right, my great and wonderful people. I believe say una don't see all the legends all over the world. They showcase to us, say it go make sense if you and I join our hands together to do everything possible to make sure say Peter Obi become the next president of this country, Nigeria. It will make sense for you, it will make sense for me, and it will make sense for the future of our children and also the future of this nation, Nigeria. All right, I will leave you to share your own opinion, your take concerning that very matter with us on the comment section, even as we leave you to watch this next video. And this video na video when we see with the receive from this our learned journalist when we see in name na Rufai for Arise News. How it be say it take position these people when we say that they carry this propaganda of say na Tinubu na build Lagos. It take it all time to educate this man and take him back to the history of Lagos, how everything they start, in case he forget and other people when they be say that they follow him blindly with this kind of mindset. Oh yeah.
I'm always shocked the way you guys talk about Lagos as if Lagos just happened pre-year 2000 or when Asiwaju became governor. Have you forgotten that Lagos was one of the only crown colonies, the British crown colonies in West Africa? Have you forgotten that Lagos existed since the 1850s, 1860s, thereabouts? The British administration was here? Have you forgotten?
In 1867.
1867. Have you forgotten that Lagos, when the amalgamation was done, it was first Lagos Colony with the Southern Protectorate in 1906, then Lagos Colony, Southern Protectorate, and the Northern Protectorate in 1914. I might refer you to the book written by, what's his name? I forget his name. Femi Okuno, Chief Femi Okuno. That says Gidigbe Likuwa. So Lagos has always been special. And the economic drift had always come to Lagos, irrespective of anything anybody did over the time. That's one point I want you guys to say right now. Secondly, when people say the APC failed, recently the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics released a report that says poverty has grown so much to be 133 million out of 216 million. Debt to service ratio, so high, 119%. That's what we're using to service. We don't even have it, we are borrowing to service debts. All the economic indices, inflation, over 20%. That's creaming off all our national capital. The state of the nation as we speak today is in a flux that the wife of the president even had to apologize on a BBC documentary that please forgive us because of our failings. So what are you talking about? Show me the success.
You see, Rufai, I like your sense of history. And I think...
All right, my great and wonderful people. I believe say una don't see our journalist Rufai. You know, we so much love this man. If all journalists be like Rufai, I believe say at least Nigeria will take another shape. Yes, because honestly, for issue of politics and every other affairs of this country to go on a proper dimension, journalism need to take a proper shape. Right people need to sit down for that place to make sure say they say things the way they're supposed to be said. Not be people when they say that would they buy over or they use money, they cover their mouth or fear, they intimidate them not to review some certain things when it be say they're supposed to review. Now, I believe when I don't see how it be say it sit that man down, those people going to be say that they carry this kind of black mindset, say na Tinubu build Lagos. They forget all these things as history. The way when it be say everything they start for Lagos. And another thing when it be say we come to understand not pass be say, it will be difficult for you to know when to stand up when you don't know when you fall. Now, the problem of this APC administration for the past 7 to 8 years, and also this Bola Tinubu and a follower, when they say they carry this black mindset to say now them build Lagos, and also they don't do well so far for this very time when they say that they reign and rule this nation. All right, I will leave you to share your own opinion concerning that very matter with us on the comment section, even as we leave you to watch this next video. And this video, now the video going to be say it concerned this recent town hall meeting when it be say it they go on right now. And this one they come from the presidential candidate of AAC when he also made Africa Action Congress when he named na Omoyele Sowere. I want make una hear wetin this man talk for this very interview. I will come back.
So when I'm telling you that I can make things happen in this country, I can make it happen. I'm one of the few young people in this country. When most of these presidential candidates that are going around now, when they were hiding under their bed and saying that the military leaders of our time should transmute into civilian leaders, following them, or that they should never leave power, we said we would deliver democracy into this country. I was 22 years old. I made it happen 10 years later, not by myself alone, but so there are people who have the mind, the courage, the composure to see into the future and know that a few people can change their world.
Okay, so can I say something?
Yes.
Can I say something?
So when people throw this blackmail at us,
no, it's not blackmail. The truth is that we know from experience that activism can be determined, driven by one person. But democracy, governance, requires a collective effort. And this is really where I think many people say you fall short, because you seem to think you can do things by
many people were saying I fall short. In 2019, I was here in front of you in 2019. You guys were laughing at me. The person you elected in 2019 that you were happy about, look at where he put you now. No, it's true. Are you imagining?
Okay. Yes. I have to admit, checkmate. Yes. Let me go to remote location before Sowore kills me here. Kano is ready, Bayero University. Say a few things, please, so we know we can hear you.
Can you hear me? We are live now.
We can hear you now. Great. Okay.
All right. Good evening and welcome to Bayero University, Kano. My name is Stephen Enoch. Well, from the conversation, it seems Sowore has a lot of plans for Nigerians, and students here are curious to ask so many questions. We have Amatola Idris and Hadiza Abubakar. So we'll just take Amatola first, and then we'll go to Hadiza. Amatu.
Good evening. My name is Amatola Idris from Bayero University, Faculty of Law. I have two questions, and my first question goes thus. Some candidates have planned to commercialize the educational sector, especially the tertiary institutions. What are your specific plans to ensure that education is accessible by all Nigerians, irrespective of social class or strata? And my second question is concerning the female students of tertiary institutions, regarding to inclusivity and affirmative action for women. What tools will you employ to ensure that women are actively involved in various sectors of the Nigerian economy? Thank you.
We have another question from Hadiza Abubakar.
Thank you. My name is Hadiza Yahya Abubakar from Mass Communication Department, Sowere University, Kano. So my own is, when Nigeria closed its borders in August 2019, people were optimistic. We were all hopeful that it might work. However, till date, even though proponents believe it's helped in curbing arms influx. Okay, wait. The previous administration, the outgoing administration, they say the aim of that was to protect farmers, reduce arms influx, or to curb arms influx, and at the same time boost our local production. But till date, we're still in hunger. In fact, the hunger is even increased, unlike before. There is more, the level of poverty is very, very high. And at the same time, there were reports that the farmers in the border communities, they became the victims of the border closure, which was supposed to protect them. They said security agencies there used to extort them. They extort them, saying their farm produce are no longer permitted. So they extort millions of naira from them. So what I want to know, dear candidates, what we want to know, dear candidates, is if you were elected, what would you do differently in this situation? How will you eradicate hunger? How will you do more good than harm if you were elected? Thank you.
we had a few questions from Bayero University. And before I hand to you, we also have one online question. So I just want to tag it along so that you answer everything all at the same time. This one comes from Daltum Bade. And he says, climate change is one of the major issues Nigeria is facing. Recently, we've seen how flooding has ravaged communities. And this is as a direct result, some of it, of climate change. How will you address this? So if we start with Bayero and then end with that.
All right. With regard to Bayero, I wanted to address the issue of border closure. I was in detention during the border closure hoopla, and I must tell you that the closure of the Nigerian border is the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. You cannot close what you don't have. Nigeria doesn't have border. I don't know why anybody will make such a policy. It's just like building a house, you put a massive gate in front of it, but the gate don't have walls. I know this because I used to pass through the border.
Is it that they have borders or the borders are just porous?
They are porous. They are porous. Even where there are official locations in the border, they are porous, of course, because of corruption. But most of Nigeria, boundaries are just outrightly porous. And I'm not going to say that I will build walls. No. But because part of the problem we have in Nigeria is that as long as our neighbors are poor, no matter how tall our walls are, we cannot drive them out. We should care about our West African brothers because I'm a Pan-Africanist. I'm not going to be closing the border. But the reason the border was closed, as I laid out for that, it was the most bigoted thing and also most discriminatory thing against certain businessmen. Because why they closed the border, by the way? I was getting intelligence within the DSS that some businessmen were offered opportunity to still be moving their goods and services across the border. But the poor people were being criminalized for going to buy rice. As she said, after all said and done, which policy did he protect? If you say you want to be growing rice, the price of rice go down. You understand? The importation of rice will not go down. So why did you close the border in the first place? Waste of time. Then somebody also asked about education. Yes. And education for me is big deal because I wouldn't be sitting in front of you today were it not for a small, regional educational policy known as free education, propagated by the UPN and the Unity Party of Chief Obafemi Awolowo. When they brought the school to our village in 1980, it offered me the opportunity to start my education in a way that wouldn't have been possible because they used to take only 6 people out of our village to go to secondary school. The day that school was brought to our village, we built it ourselves, and over 150 kids came out of the bush to go to school that day. That's how some of us had education.
So you will provide free education?
Free education. I will fund it. My own is access and quality for education because the education we don't invest in today is part of why we are dealing with insecurity and crime at the level. I'm not saying that if
will you
rethink
the current education system?
Of course.
Or you are just going to take what we have and make it free?
Everything has to change. The curriculum has to change. I studied geography and planning. Before I knew about the river in my village, I was already known about the 5 lakes in the U.S. Our curriculum is useless. It doesn't focus on getting people educated. It focuses on getting you literate so that you can work for somebody. Right. Yes, I want to put education in education and not just literacy. We need to be literate and educated a lot. And part of the reason why some of the questions we're asking that somebody says is not meaning up is our level of education. Otherwise, you can know that people who are determined, people who are desirous of freedom and change can change their country. Every country in the world has changed. Started with some few people who said, we are going to make it happen. You know that in 1787, you will know it from history, that the U.S. has some great men, they call them, some of them slave owners, jurists, that wrote the U.S. Constitution. All of us know their names. You don't know the name of the people that wrote the Constitution in 1999 because they even ashamed to come outside and say that the one who wrote this nonsense.
We talked about
the military guys. So what I'm saying is that great people, great ideas, idealists, ideologues make great country.
And
we are short of that. We are short of that.
The last
one,
Sowore,
the last question you asked,
we need to get through the question because we still have representation.
Yes. We have been treating women in this country as signage, political parties in particular. Every time there's a rally, women arrive there first with the clothes. They are the ones who will shout and clap. When they are done, they are the ones who clap. But the truth is that women in current election roll, that is the registration of voters, they are 51%.
Yes.
So practically, women can elect a woman as a president. Women should stop begging for percentages from people with whom, if you are 50% of voters, why are you accepting 35% of allocation for women? You know, go for 50% too. Our party,
but I now want to hear
positions
what
to
you
women.
will do, not women
Yes.
should do. What will you do
It's
if
what
you
I will do
become
now.
president? Yeah.
For me, there's no reason for women to give women allocation of 35%. Let's give them the percentage of their population of the country, or let them take it. Because now they have more capacity to even elect leaders than anybody else. So,
but you know, you have to understand, though, there are cultural. Let me finish
yes,
now.
We are talking about culture as if we are not all here in the culture.
No, that's the point I'm making, is that there are things that make it difficult for women to take it, like you say. And in countries where these things have been taken seriously, representation has actually helped. So if you look at a place like Rwanda, making a conscious decision to put policy in place, to put laws in place, has increased.
Yes.
So when you say they should just take it, I'm saying that sometimes that's not a practical way to deal with these issues.
It is practical that if elections are legitimate, that is, if they are free, fair, and credible, that women in this country can elect a woman president. They are 51% of the population. They just need a few men. Their husbands, boyfriends, they vote for a guy, he wins the election. So if you have that kind of power, why would you be begging for?
Well, we are at a stage where, because of education, cultural situations, the laws, everything.
Any culture
so
that puts
what
people
will
in bondage,
you do if you become president for Nigerian women?
That I will not in any way. So let's start from governance.
Yes.
You know,
so your cabinet, what percentage?
Cabinet is going to be 51% representation.
Okay.
The number of women voters.
That's your commitment.
Compared to men. That's how we are going to do it. That's the statistics and calculation we are going to use.
Okay.
Do we have enough, because before we go, do we have enough women in our party represented? I'll say no, and I should apologize for that. But that's not the reason for us not to have a clear-cut policy that is just and fair towards women.
Climate
and not be
change.
using culture as excuse.
I'm rushing you because
our culture also don't allow men to steal. Why is it that they don't have a problem stealing?
Okay, climate change. There was a question there, and in light of this recent
climate
flooding,
change, a lot of people in this country, for instance, do not understand that one of our biggest crises right now, the herdsmen-farmers clash, started with the climate change issue in the Lake Chad region. The Lake Chad has now dried up to 10% of its size. So the herdsmen that used to have a great time around the Lake Chad area, disturbing nobody, they had to move southward. Reason, they are selling beef. Beef is a $4 billion industry in Nigeria, particularly in the southwest where we are today. Yoruba people, my people, there's nothing they don't eat when you bring a cow out and slaughter it. The nose, the ass, the legs, you know, everywhere. But the truth is that because we have not applied the policies necessary to regrow, say, the Lake Chad, we are suffering from that mistake because nobody understood it.
So how will you deal with it?
There's a policy we have put in place, you know, to re-energize the Lake Chad region. And part of it will surprise you. It's very expensive. Is to direct some of the waters from Lagdo Lake that is flooding Nigeria.
And where will
now.
you find the money?
Why are you always asking about where would we find the money?
Because you have to be able to fund things.
When we are funding thieves in this country, billions of dollars, they are stealing it. You are asking me where will I find the money when Nigeria has got money. The problem with Nigeria is not that we don't have money. It is that it's being shared by a few. If the little money we have is being used appropriately, your accountant general will not walk away with 150 billion, and that is not like that.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that, yes. Sowere, but if you do become president,
I will become president.
You will inherit almost from day one some of the issues left behind by these people that you're trying to replace, including empty coffers, at least in the first few days. How are you going to, you know, what are the sort of things that you're going to do to find the sort of immediate money that you need? If you go into government today and they say to you, look, we have only 1 month worth of, you know, reserves to import food. And, you know, we do a lot of importation of everything we literally consume. You know, we're not selling enough petrol because we're using the rest of it to service debt. These are international obligations that you can't wiggle out of, you know. How will you deal with that?
You see,
All right, my great and wonderful people. I believe say una don listened to that very interview with Omoyele Sowore, the presidential candidate of AAC, when he also mean Africa Action Congress. Now, it be that very one. And before we will leave you to share your own opinion with us on the comment section, honestly, as we continue to the talk, I believe each and every one of you know the capacity of these people. And through this interview, when they say all these people, the grants, now the only way when they say we Nigerians would they know waiting these people carry. And with this very one, and also the way when we see Peter Obi for different interview, we all feel attest who be who. And the people, when they say that they try to escape and run away from certain interview like this without EBC, they not get written paper. When they say they will come, they read to us, we also know them and know their capacity. All right, I will leave you to share your own opinion with us in the comment section, even as we draw the line here. And before we say a final goodbye, we want to quickly use this medium to appreciate each and every one of you for your time. When we to stay with us up to this moment, God Almighty will bless you. And also the way when we say to help or they like this video, they share, and also your comments, all of them, we appreciate them. I bet make not forget to help us share this very one so that we will still reach our brothers and sisters all over the world, because we believe we want to say information, not power. And as we do so, God Almighty will bless you. We'd like to draw the conclusion of this program here. We will see you again when we see you. Remember, we love you all. Bye-bye.